Gout Gout, 18 years old, Australian. Nobody expected what came next. He ran a number that put him ahead of the greatest sprinter who ever lived. At the same age, and when he was done, he said he had more left in the tank. On April 12, 2026, at the Sydney Olympic Park Athletics Centre, something happened that the sport of track and field was not ready for. Gout Gout stepped into the blocks for the men's 200-meter final at the Australian Athletics Championships. He had written in his notes that morning, "I'm running 19.75. He had said it to himself every day for a week. He believed it. His coach believed it. The crowd believed it. What he actually ran was 19.67 seconds. That number is not just a personal best, it is not just a national record, it is the fastest time ever legally run by any under-20 sprinter in the history of the 200 meters. It broke Arian Knighton's world under-20 record of 19.69 set in Eugene in 2022. It shattered Gout's own Australian record of 20.02. And it placed him 16th on the all-time world list for the 200 meters, an event that has been run by the greatest sprinters who ever lived. Channel 7's Bruce McAvaney was calling the race live. When it was over, he said simply, "The world will be shaking. It is seismic." He was right. The story of Gout Gout does not start on a track. It starts in South Sudan, where his parents were born. They fled the country, made their way to Egypt, and eventually moved to Australia 2 years before Gout was born. He was born on December 29, 2007, in Ipswich, Queensland, one of 7 children. He grew up playing soccer before switching to track. And the moment he switched, it was clear he was different. At 14, he ran 10.57 seconds in the 100 meters. At 15, he broke the Australian under-18 men's 200-meter record. At 16, he shattered Peter Norman's 56-year-old national record at the Australian All-Schools Athletics Championships, clocking 20.04 seconds, a world record for that age group. Peter Norman's original record had stood since the 1968 Olympics. A teenager in school uniform erased it. By 2024, he was representing Australia at the World Athletics U20 Championships in Lima, Peru. He took silver in the 200 meters. He was 16 years old. In 2025, at 17, he competed in the 200-meter semifinals at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. He became the youngest sprinter ever to reach that stage in the event's history. He also set the Oceanian record at 20.02 seconds. He signed a deal with Adidas. Noah Lyles, the Olympic 100-meter champion, took him under his wing for 2 weeks of training and gave him career advice. All of that was before April 12, 2026. The 200-meter final at the Australian Athletics Championships was supposed to be a duel. Gout Gout versus Lachlan Kennedy, the 22-year-old who had just become the first Australian to break 10 seconds on home soil, winning the 100-meter final in 9.96 the day before. That matchup never happened. Kennedy pulled out of the 200 as a precaution, protecting himself early in a long season. The race Gout got instead was nearly as fierce. Aidan Murphy, a 22-year-old who had long been considered Australia's best 200-meter prospect, refused to fade. Gout came off the bend, trailing Murphy into the straight. They were level, the crowd was on its feet. Then, inside the final 30 meters, Gout found another gear. He pulled away. He crossed the line in 19.67 seconds. Murphy finished second in 19.88, a time that would have demolished Gout's old national record on its own. For the first time in Australian history, 2 men had gone under 20 seconds in the same race. The tailwind was 1.7 meters per second, within the legal limit of 2.0. The time counted. The record stood. What made it more remarkable was the context. The track at Sydney Olympic Park was newly laid and unproven for sprinting. The weather had turned cold and blustery by race day, an autumn chill replacing the earlier warmth. These were not ideal conditions for a world record. Gout ran it anyway. He also revealed afterward that he had predicted 19.75 in his notes that morning, meaning he beat his own pre-race target by 0.08 of a second in imperfect conditions against a rival who refused to make it easy. Gout celebrated on the track, finding his manager James Templeton and letting out the emotion of years of work. Then he spoke to the media. He did not say it felt lucky. He did not say he was surprised. He said, "There's a big weight off my shoulders knowing I ran it legally, and I have the speed and my body to run times like that. So it definitely feels great and ready for more." Ready for more. At 18, the comparison was made before the race was even cold. Usain Bolt is the most dominant sprinter the world has ever seen. 8 Olympic gold medals, 11 World Championship golds, world records of 9.58 in the 100 meters and 19.19 in the 200 meters, both set in Berlin in 2009, marks that still stand today, 17 years later. At 18, Bolt ran 19.93 seconds in the 200 meters. At the time, it was a world junior record. Gout Gout just ran 19.67. He is now ahead of Bolt at the same age. He also edged past Arion Knighton on the all-time under-20 list. He is the fastest 18-year-old in the history of the 200 meters. He is the 16th fastest man in history at the distance, and he is not done growing. Bolt's path, though, carries a warning. At 17, Bolt won World Junior Gold. He then spent years being inconsistent as a senior. At the 2004 Olympics, he went out in the first round. Injuries came. It was not until 2008, when he ran 9.69 in Beijing, that the world truly understood what it was watching. Gout understands the gap between being promising and being proven. When asked about the Bolt comparisons, he kept it simple. It's good when people compare you to the best in the world. But at the end of the day, I'm me. I'm doing my own thing. There is no pressure. As soon as I go down to the track, it's me, the track, and the spikes. That kind of thinking is what separates good athletes from great ones. He is not running from the comparison. He is not hiding from the pressure. He is simply focused on doing his own thing, one race at a time. Part of what makes the Bolt comparison so hard to dismiss is not just the times. It is how Gout Gout runs. Bolt was famous for his stride length. At 6'5", he covered ground in fewer steps than any sprinter before him. That is a large part of why he was able to produce times that others simply could not reach. He was built differently. Gout Gout is still growing, but analysts have already noted the same pattern in his mechanics. His stride is unusually long for his age and frame. He does not rush. He accelerates through the race in waves, often seeming relaxed until the final stretch, when his body shifts into a gear that leaves competitors behind. It happened against Aidan Murphy. It happens consistently. His coach is Diane Shepherd. She has been with him through every national record, every junior title, every step of a journey that most coaches never get to be part of. She has built his training around consistency, not spectacle, quiet work, steady improvement, no shortcuts. His agent is James Templeton. The plan is deliberate. The World Athletics U20 Championships in Eugene, Oregon in August is the next major target. If Gout wins gold in the 200 meters there, he would become the first Australian ever to win a sprint gold at the Junior World Championships. The 2028 Los Angeles Olympics sit beyond that. He will be 20 years old in Los Angeles. By then, if his development continues at this rate, the conversation will not be about junior records. It will be about whether he can compete for gold against the best senior sprinters in the world.